get some feedback on how to handle specific objections. So we're gonna have to get Jonathan the screen, and we have enough people that will probably break out into breakout rooms, like 3 apiece, and we'll go at one objection at a time and just kind of discuss, we'll probably do 10 minutes apiece. So we'll try to get through 3 or 4 of them, come back as a conglomerate, and kind of see where we're at with objections. And maybe we can kind of learn from each other as far as what somebody says. If you're blanking, that's fine. Somebody in the group will probably have some good ideas. But, realistically, getting past people's objections and things of that nature is going to ultimately allow you to close more deals and have better conversations with your customers in just everyday life, right? So this is really focused on asking better questions to get past surface level answers. Because if you're asking surface level questions, that's what you're going to get back in return. You're not going to get very in depth with somebody. You're not going to likely close that sale. Lay down sales are going away with the economy the way it is. Everybody here is dealing with it. I don't care, where you're at. Everybody's impacted, right? Gas is crazy. Eggs are crazy. Lay down sales are going away. So if you're not equipped to sell in a way that makes sense for customers, you're probably not going to get a lot of closes. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? So, Jonathan, if you can share the Knox Stars objections that you had, Ramsey might.
Absolutely, Cody. So I went ahead and I sent you the file. If you want to, since you're already the co-host, if you want to go ahead and open that on your end, that would be great. That way you're able to manage it. I just sent it to you through the chat. Let me know if that works. If not, I could share my screen.
Yeah, I'm opening up right now.
Perfect.
Next week, Ramsey will be going over some Black Swan, essentially some theory on getting people to say no, because it's a lot easier to get people to say no. So that should be fun. Let's see here. We got the file opened up now.
Would you guys be against joining next week's session on that topic? See what I did there? So would you be against? It's easier to say no, as opposed to saying, would you guys mind joining next week? So we're 3 times more likely to feel a sort of pain when we say yes than a no, because our amygdala has 2 parts to it. One is for negative emotion, one's for positive. The one for negative emotion is 3 times larger. And if you think about evolutionary standpoint, it's made to make us survive, to propagate the species, to continue living. So that's why there's all this negative news in the media, because that's how we're wired. So once we start understanding that dynamic, we can use it to our advantage to better influence and persuade people.
So Ramsey, if we could do breakout rooms, if you want to help out with that. We have about 5 per room, basically. So we got 17 people in here. And the first one that we're going to look at is, we've already looked into solar. So the Knox Stars has already implemented, some objective handling. Yeah, this is a little bit different. And then the pause, right? So it'd be like, yeah, this is a little bit different. This is a brand new program that will allow you to redirect your payment. It's called the redirection program. It will give you the ability to own your power or just pay less on your bill you never cancel. Oh, let me, sorry about that. So there's obviously some different ways that we can overcome this objection, right? So Knox Stars, this is for like a door knocking piece, essentially, is what this is. And a lot of people use this that are very successful in power and door knocking ventures. This is the redirection program. So you're not bringing up solar right away, because most of the time, if you bring up solar right away, they're going to do what? They're going to tell you, I'm not interested. Get off the doorstep, pull the shotgun out, whatever it may be, right? So this is a way to get them off that train of thought of just saying, and you have to kind of capture the interest very quickly when you're trying to overcome objections, right? And if you're just like everybody else, and most people don't have a plan, right? So if you don't have a plan and you get punched in the mouth, then what happens, right? You start fumbling over your words, you're scrambling, you're in defense mode. So you might even get aggressive with somebody or, go the opposite direction. And when you do that, you're kind of losing all the strength that you have when you're at the door, or even when you're talking to somebody over the phone, right? Once you lose that power and you get punched in the mouth, you don't know what to do, and you started scrambling, well, it's going to show that you're scrambling and you're not a professional, right? So this is the first one we'll go over, and we'll spend about 10 minutes. The idea is to have a different outlook on, what this is. This is the redirect program, and it can be anything. It could be a phone call, right? So when you get into the group, really just kind of discuss, we've already looked into solar and how you're going to overcome that objection. And then we'll come back and kind of talk about it and let, maybe one person from every group kind of share, what their group kind of thought of. And everybody can get ideas off that. You probably want to write some of this stuff down so it'll help you out, and you can tailor it to you. So that way this isn't, you don't want to sound like a robot when you're doing your own scripts, right? This is something that you want to be fluent, that you can remember, and that you can keep using day in, day out. Ramsey, were you able to get the group set up?
Yeah. So my question is, how are we going to do with the slides if people don't have it?
So we've already looked into solar, right? So everybody remember that. You've already looked into solar. We're overcoming that objection. I don't think that we need to have the slide. Everybody can remember that, right? We've already looked into solar. We're telling you we're not interested, right? We've already looked into it. We're not interested. It wasn't for us. What do we say when that happens? Anybody not clear on we've looked into solar?
The only thing that's strange is that you said we didn't say solar yet.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So the objections, that's a very good point, John. These objections kind of went in order, right? I was just giving you this example, but I'm recommending with your objections, they didn't know, let's say they know that you're talking about solar at this point. So obviously you've mentioned solar at some point. How do we get past, we've already looked into solar? That's really like the main point here. How do we get past that? What would you say if somebody said that to you? We've already looked into it. No sound. All right.
Why didn't you move forward?
That's a really good question. Yeah. What held you back, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to admit Omar in here. Got somebody else joining up.
I would ask, what was the reason why you didn't pull the trigger?
What was the reason you didn't pull the trigger? Right.
It was too expensive, and then you can.
Yeah, you just kind of want to redirect their attention off, like you acknowledge that they're telling you that they're essentially not interested, but they're obviously, you want to get into a two-way dialogue at the end of the day, right? You want them responding to you. You want to be able to ask questions and probe deeper, because they didn't tell you to get off the doorstep. They didn't pull out the shotgun, right? They just said, yeah, we've already looked into solar, or we've already looked into it. Anybody else got anything off the top of their head?
So this is kind of circumventing this conversation, but I went up to Kissimmee to knock on doors with a guy because I knew he had some talents that I didn't have at the time. And what he did is when he knocked on the door, he said that he was just there to let them know that there was going to be several trucks in their neighborhood that upcoming week, and that they would potentially be blocking the way. And that if they did, just, kind of toot the horn and they'll get out of the way. And what that did was deflect any kind of rejection right off the bat, because they're saying, thank you for letting us know. And he said, we work for the company that sells those Save the Planet solar panels. And he would point, because several people have that in Kissimmee, about every other house does. And then then he would pause and say, well, actually, have you looked into, having solar? So coming in the way he did made it really easy. And the first day I worked with him, we had 7 appointments lined up in just a few hours, about 4.5 hours. Some were in Spanish because I spoke Spanish, so it was a bonus. So basically 4 of the appointments were in Spanish and 3 of them were in English.
Right. Yeah, for sure. All right. We got somebody else looking to join here.
And by the way, we're also going to reach or touch on reaching out to business owners as well, at least hit on that. So we're mixing in a few things, whether it's a door approach, whether it's reaching out to a business. So we're going to start with the objection that we've already looked into solar, or maybe a business that you're talking to says, yeah, that was presented to me, and how to handle that objection in that scenario as well.
Yeah, I really like Denise's, like what kind of held you back, like why are you not, why didn't you move forward with it, right? What is it about you didn't like it, right? So a lot of people with solar specifically, they have a lot of misconceptions about solar. They think it's going to cost a lot of money, right? And then that'll prompt a two-way dialogue. I'd say, hey, listen, you've already looked into solar, and I'm not even sure that we can help you yet, right? So I want to let the guard down, right? Like that I'm not just some product pusher. Like I'm not even sure that I can help you out yet. Really just looking to see if it might be a possible solution for you or might be a possible option for you. That's really what I'm out here today. And I like the redirection program because it is something a little different. There's a lot of different tactics that you can use, like John mentioned. They basically said we got some people in the area, so that lets them know that their people are going solar, right? But at the end of the day, you want to disarm them, lower them down, so they're not on defense. That you're trying to sell them something, and just open up the two-way dialogue. So I mean, I really like all those, but you definitely want to, probe deeper and find out why it is that they didn't look into solar. Anybody else have anything that they want to touch on? We've already looked into solar.
I'll say something. So here with when you say this is a little bit different, this is important to say because automatically their ears are open because this is different than what they've heard before. We don't know what the other 50 door knockers told them. They probably allowed the homeowner to kick him off the door, and that homeowner just asked the neighbor who doesn't have solar about solar. That neighbor doesn't know anything. So when you say this is a little bit different and you pause, it gives them a moment to think. And I've knocked doors with this strategy, and they say, okay, so what is this about? And when you mention the redirection program, they're surprised that what they're doing is transferring the money that they're already paying to the utility into the solar panels. Because I'm surprised how many people think that they have to pay for the panels as well as keep the same energy bill that they already have. So they think that after the 25 years is when they're going to start saving. And we don't have that many people explain that at the doors, or they don't even get the time to explain it because people automatically, they are in guard mode. So they just want me off the door. So when you say this is a little bit different, they're willing more to listen to something because they've already heard the other 10, 15 guys who came in and knocked on their door. So when you say this is a little bit different with the redirection program, this is something that they probably never heard before.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of guys that use specifically this redirection program or things similar to this. They do a lot less talking, and they always have like a tablet, for example, or like one of the other ones I know that does it. He has a sheet of paper, it's laminated, and it shows the electricity costs. And they always redirect them and go, yeah, it's probably better or easier if I just show you. And then they'll bring the tablet over, or they'll bring over, the laminated piece of paper. Like the tablet one, that whole approach is like, hey, here's your neighbors, and you can see they're all kind of going solar, and they didn't win the lottery, and they're not taking, thousands and thousands of dollars out of their checking account, right? They're qualifying for the redirect program, right? And we're not even sure that you're eligible for the redirect program. But really, we're just out here trying to compete with XYZ Electric Company and see if it's a possible solution or possible option for you. For me, like the way that I would probably approach this, if I was to get punched in the mouth of this, we've already looked into solar. And I say, hey, listen, I completely understand. And I'm not even sure that I could help yet. And I'd probably piece in what Denise has said, like, what kind of held you back? Or, what was the conversation like that you talked about before, right? Because you have to first overcome that piece with somebody who said that they've already looked into solar. And if you ask, right, they're going to tell you why or, what they thought up in their head, because the previous person didn't do their job and ask questions, right? They just tried to sell them solar. So this customer developed a thought process regarding solar, probably didn't ask any questions because the other person didn't. They were just getting pushed product. So they've developed this whole frame that's not even probably realistic, because most of the stuff that I hear about solar isn't even realistic, right? It's just something that they've made up in their head and that's the frame that they decided to go in. And it's like, okay, well, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I mean, you said that it's very expensive, right? Let's just say they say that it's very expensive. Well, expensive compared to what? You're already paying the electric bill, right, Mr. Customer? Yeah, I'm already paying the electric bill. Okay. Well, do you want to own your electricity or do you want to continue to rent it? And when you say it was too expensive, tell me a little bit more about that, compared to what your monthly electric bill now. Were you trying to add batteries? Because we don't know what the situation is, right? We all know if you start adding batteries, a lot of times the bills are a little bit higher, right? But they wanted that protection. So now you have to get them off the price and back into that protection mode. Like, hey, look, we don't have to do the batteries, right? We can leave those out of the project if it was making the cost a little bit higher. And we can build you a system that, in a few years when the batteries and the pricing and everything kind of comes down and it makes sense, you can always plug and play them, right? So yeah,
Something
like
you
all that.
can,
Go ahead.
great points, Cody. Something that you can add to that before saying that, add in, I'm curious, and then you say, if you listen to Jim Bunch speak, he says, I'm curious, and then he says what he's going to say. So that's a primer to lower their defenses. Because if you're curious, you're not selling them anything. You're just asking them a specific question out of curiosity. So I'm curious, what was it about XYZ, or could you clarify what you mean by expensive? So that'll help you opening them up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Ramsey, there was somebody that was trying to join that I didn't let him in, but we just got another guy in.
Okay.
I was gonna do the breakout room, but we kind of talked about that one, so we'll just kind of move on to another one. Let's find a good one.
And I want us to hit on at least one whole reaching out to business owners. Remember the one we had last week, Cody? The docs, the Google Docs.
The Google Docs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really good call that I recorded. I can share that too, maybe,
Sure.
and we can go from that.
Perfect.
Let's see. We're not taking a loan out. I'm moving. My electric bill is small, right? So I'm not paying a whole lot of money, right? Let's talk about this one. This one I would. Rams, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Are we able to do some breakout rooms so I can be a little bit more intimate?
Absolutely.
Maybe people won't feel so like nervous about talking in front of the group.
Sure. So
My
if they don't
electric
have,
bill is,
Mhm.
yeah, well, go ahead.
If they don't have the script, are we just coming up with our own rebuttals? Is that
Yeah,
what
I don't want this scripting is here, like take that away, right? So like my perfect, and you could use this to kind of get your brain going if you wanted to, but I really want to know like how your plan of attack for my electric bill is small. Really,
Gotcha.
it's not about developing a script around this script. It's really, something different. Not that you couldn't use this script if you like pieces of it, maybe you can add a piece, but it's just about getting different perspectives about how people handle it. And then, if somebody's not catching blanks, then they can, develop a little plan of attack if something like this pops up.
Okay.
So we have 7 all gonna get.
Sounds like people are having fun in these breakout sessions.
Yeah, they're good, man. Like it's just like a little bit more of like an intimate. You can really dive into. Everybody feels like they're comfortable to speak. You know, when you get too many people in a room, people are like, "Whoa, I don't want to say something wrong here and jack it all up," right?
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
people
So,
thinking, I don't care. Whatever, man.
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer right now. It's just that's where we're here to help each other out and get better at it. So, avoid that mistake. You're with the homeowner. So,
Yeah, 100%.
absolutely. Yeah, that's what these sessions are about. It's not about, oh, we're the experts and we're going to tell you how to answer it. Many people can have different ways of answering the same questions, and that we can all benefit from. The feedback.
All right, well, I think we got everybody back, right? Should be
Yeah, I
everybody.
think so. I know we weren't able to get to everyone. I wasn't able to get to John, but
Okay.
everyone else was amazing. Actually, really good. They started implementing no-oriented questions. They started empathizing empathy and my specific situation. Roger hit the nail on the head with, well, tell me about your utility rates. Have they been going up or have you noticed them going down? So giving me the option to make my own decision and ruminate in my own pain. So I thought that was fantastic. Great job. And real quick, John, I know you knocked on my door last night. I was sleeping. I'm not interested in solar, brother. I appreciate it.
Well, this is a little bit different. And we're visiting with a lot of the neighbors because of the community savings program. I don't know if you heard of that.
No, I haven't heard of that.
So
What do
what
you
we're
mean by
doing,
different?
well, what we're doing is we're showing some of the neighbors how they can actually switch from renting their energy as opposed to owning it.
Uh-huh.
And so, like you bought, when you bought your house, right? You don't rent here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, why would you rent? You're throwing money
Right,
away.
because if you're renting, then you don't have any control of your rent going up, and
Sure.
then mortgages makes more sense because eventually you own. And basically, that's what we're doing with the community savings program. We're showing people how they can own their own energy as opposed to renting it. So what I'm going to do is, when would you be available so that we could sit down and go over your energy bill?
Like, what do you need to do that exactly?
Excuse me?
What would you need to do that? What does this entail? Do I have to give you my credit card? What is this
No.
process?
What we're doing is we're explaining to people the community savings program. What we do is we go over your energy bill to show you how it would be advantageous for you to own your own energy as opposed to renting it from the dirty power grid.
Oh, okay. So there's no cost to this, right? It's just kind of like you're showing me a quote.
Yeah, and I'd be the first one to tell you if it doesn't make sense for your home.
Have you run into people where it doesn't make sense for them?
Yeah, it depends on. There's a lot of things that go into it in terms of how much energy you're using, and if you have shade over your house, or of course I wouldn't have knocked on your door if I thought you didn't have enough sun on your home. But it's easy and it's free, and basically we just sit down with you and quickly go over your energy bill and show you how you can save money by owning your own electricity as opposed to renting it.
Fair enough. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Let's take a few minutes. Great job, John. Excellent. I just wanted to hit on John because we didn't get to him in the group. Cody, back to you, brother.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing, and that's what this is all about, right? Whatever helps you out, gets you in the frame of mind. I'm gonna let one of the Jonathans, because I have both of them. I'm gonna let them kind of touch base on what our thought process was if we were to get presented with this objection, and then we'll pick somebody else from each group because I know Bob, Eric, and Steve. And there's somebody else in that other group. There was basically 3 groups. So we'll just kind of touch base real quickly, give like a little 5-minute synopsis of, kind of what we were thinking and our approach. Either one of the Johns want to go? Franco or Espinal?
Hey, John Franco. I appreciate you coming by, brother. You seem like a hustler. We're just not interested in solar. We're good. Thanks, man.
Well, we didn't really role play, Ramsey, and we were doing
okay.
my electric bill is small,
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know
do
if
it with them.
everybody was on that one. Yeah, so that's what we
All right.
basically discussed. So we don't have to role play, John. You can just kind of tell them, a little bit about what we talked about.
Yeah, so we just spoke about approaching the homeowner, what it entails when their utility bill is pretty low. So for them it's like saying, oh, it doesn't make sense, even though my electricity bill is low. What happens is, they don't know a lot of the background. They don't pretty much they just have that comfort zone of that bill coming in month to month, paying it, and that's it, and just complaining when the bill's high. So yeah, just giving them the having giving them the opportunity to explain, sit down, and as well, telling them the benefit of them owning it, not just um, you know staying with their utility, not just trying to sell them a system, but as well giving them an explanation of all the details that, how solar works and how beneficial it is for them, and not just for them, but their family, their kids, people that are, they're wanting to buy it, but they're like undecided. So now it's like, it's a benefit for them to leave it for their kids, their grandchildren. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. I mean, we basically said that, you have rent versus own, right? So that's one way we're going to look at overcoming that objection, right? We had, well, what is small exactly, right? Just because I say something small, that doesn't mean that it's the same thing for you, right? So small to me could be $1,000. Small to them could be 150, right? Who knows what their actual definition of small or low electricity bill is? So we need to probe deeper, find out exactly what the bill is, right? So something like, well, just out of curiosity, when you say, electric bill is small, what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean 50? Do you mean 100? You want to give them some examples so that way they can, or you could say, you could frame it in your own, like, what do you mean small? $250 a month, $500 a month? So you could go the opposite direction. Because if you go real low, a lot of times they're going to go, yeah, it's $50 a month, right? And you're looking at this house and you're going, there's no shot that there's $50 a month electric bill here. It costs $50 just to be connected to the damn line, right? So you might want to go a little bit higher. The next piece Jonathan brought up, which is what John was touching on, Franco, was the ownership, right? And I heard somebody else in one of the groups talking about the rising costs. So it might be small now, but that 30% increase happens every year or every couple of years. What does that, $50 bill look like? Well, now it's $80 a month. Now it's $125 a month, right? Do you want to lock in that option to own your own electricity and keep the payments smaller and something that you can budget for because you know what it's going to be? It's not going to keep increasing year in, year out, right? So thanks, John, for sharing. I know, Ramsey, you guys were role playing. Were you guys going off of not interested in solar?
We were doing not interested in solar,
Okay.
and just listening to the verbiage that the client is saying. For example, with one example that I did with Desi, I said, I have my child who's currently, in a situation. She said, I understand, you're busy. Your child is the most important thing. So right there, initially, I felt heard. I felt empathized with. So that's crucial, guys. You always want to empathize with the person, whatever they say, agree with it, and diffuse it, so, but you can't diffuse it if they don't hear you say back what they said. So that's empathy. So empathy doesn't mean that you agree with something. Empathy doesn't mean that you're for it. Empathy just means that you understand it. And when people feel understood, people lower their resistance. Another thing you can do whenever you're reaching out to someone and you're asking their bill and you say, oh, so how much are you guys paying? When you say it's low, what exactly do you mean by low? Oh, we pay $90 a month. You can say this. Wait, you mean quarterly? No, per month. Oh, okay. So then you're framing it into the, oh, wait, I'm actually paying more than I thought. So they gets them to trigger that of, yeah, so it's every month. It's not quarterly, it's every month. That's something that they teach on the Knox Stars.
Nice.
Yeah,
I know,
absolutely.
I think I hopped in and Steve and Bob and Eric, you guys were all in a group. And I seen, I heard somebody talking about kind of getting the customer on your side, kind of the same thing Ramsey was talking about. If one of you guys want to hop in and kind of tell us what you guys first discuss, 'cause I don't know if it was not interested or my electric bill is small, and then kind of, you know, what your guys' thought about how to approach that was.
Yeah, you want to, you can go
No, go
see.
ahead, Derek.
All right. Ours was, the bill is small. And basically a lot of the things that you guys already touched on, that's pretty much what we were going over is, figuring out what small meant to them, you know, because it's like, all right, yeah, your bill is small, but I don't know what your definition of small is. Steve also touched on the make it a bigger picture. You actually touched on that. You mentioned it, Cody, about the what's going to happen 10 years from now, 5 years, 2 years from now when they increase. Like he making the picture broader for them to actually look at instead of just, yeah, I'm only spending, you know, $10 more a month now, but next year it can be 20, 50, $100 more going forward. And then Bob hit on the leaning in, agreeing with that homeowner in a way where you have to lower that resistance a little bit so they can lower their guard. So a good book was Talking to Crazy, read, and basically a dog bites someone's arm and then you lean in, you push your arm further in the mouth. The next thing that dog's going to do is start loosening his jaws to try to swallow. That's when you can yank your arm out. So when talking to people with these, they're trying to close the conversation and lean into their crazy just a little bit to bring them back out of it. So that's essentially what we were going through with the whole my bill is small and that type of approach.
Yeah, great. And so I think we kind of all got the same thing. I can share that video real quick, Ramsey, for our last 10 minutes. This is a video that I recorded on contacting roofing companies to try to onboard them to be referral partners. So I'll share that, and I can also type up an email with the scripting that I use. I basically, put it together, made 2 phone calls. The one I left a voicemail. The second one I got a guy on the phone, and it's a pretty good overcoming the not interested from businesses, right? So I'll share that real quick, and then we'll kind of end on there. And then next week will be Ramsey's Black Swan. So let me know if you're able to hear it. This is something that I do.
Yes.
Here. Okay. So I'm going to actually, this is me going on, I'm going to bypass this just to make it quick. This is me going on Facebook. Somebody says need a roofer in the area kind of thing, right? So I go on Facebook and I target these because I'm looking for small roofing companies. I'm not looking for huge conglomerates that'll take me 1,000 years to get in contact with a guy that, does the whole thing, right? So essentially I go through, call this company, I leave a message, right? And then I'm kind of checking to see how many reviews they have, to see how big they are. Like if they're not really reviewed a whole lot, that tells me that they're probably a little bit smaller because they're not really pushing crazy reviews. That's not always going to be a giveaway, but I end up finding Florida Roofing Bros here. And I think it's right around here. So Florida Roofing Bros, I think it's at like 16.
Oh, and make a tap.
All right, here we go. Hold on.
Yeah, I got you. Capturing per deal.
Oh, here we go. I was right there. It's not, the call hasn't been made yet.
Good afternoon, Florida Roof Bros. Brad speaking. Hey, Brad. Yeah, this is just Cody. I was wondering if you could help me out for a moment. What you got, Cody? Yeah, and I'm not quite sure you could yet. I called to see if you or the company would be open to looking at some possibilities related to or improving how much profitability you currently are capturing per deal or customer.
I mean, right now we're not, but I can get your information and pass it to Evan and see if it's something he's interested in the future.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, just so I can better understand, you said that you are opposed to making more money for a customer.
Well, I mean, forgive me, but
through this a lot. We just
I want to pause there. You should never be sarcastic. I'm kind of an asshole. That's not something he should do, right? I shouldn't have like laughed at him like that, but he did keep going, and I tend to get away with that, but most people aren't, so don't do that.
aren't interested right now. We don't really have the time for it, but I mean, I think that if you send the information and give me your info, I'll give it to Evan. I'll let him take a look at it, kind of whenever it's a chance. Yeah, I got you. So I mean, I took a look at the website, and I noticed like services wise, you kind of offer, you know, roof tune-ups, roof replacement, repairs, metal, shingle, tile, right?
So what I did there is he basically is telling me he's not interested, right? I just keep it moving. I acknowledge that he's not interested. I just keep moving.
I noticed that there wasn't any solar on the website at all, right? So I work for a company called Power, and you mentioned you don't really have a lot of time, right, to take on new jobs, et cetera, expand the business is kind of what you're telling me. Power allows you to essentially refer your business over and make $1,000 per referral, basically $1,000 to $7,000 per referral you send over. So for roofers, it's a really easy, I guess you'd say, cross sale or referral. Just mention the fact that they can take advantage of the 30% tax credit, not only on, you know, the solar, but also on the roof. So like the best time to look at is when you're replacing the roof. If your guys didn't have a lot of time and you didn't want to make a lot more money, I mean, at least you can make $1,000 per deal that kind of gets referred over. And really, yeah, no, I mean, I get it, I understand. Well, we know about solar. It's just not something that we obviously offer here. But you know, honestly, in the past, I'm sure you guys aren't like this, but I've got one right now that finished a job, and I don't know why we did it somehow snuck through. But the job that we installed a shingle roof on, like 3.5 months ago, and we're still waiting for the solar company to get paid on it. So forgive me if it doesn't sound super inviting for us. I mean, like 30% you can do the roof and the solar, and then we got to wait till the solar gets installed. But we don't really have a contract with the customer. We have kind of just a handshake deal with us, right? Where if they decide to back out on the solar, we don't really have a contract with them for the roof. Is that correct? No, not at all. So you would essentially sell the roof, right? And the way that I treat my referral partners inside the roofing business is when I get the customer, just depending, it looks different for everybody, right? But like somebody like you that said they're really busy, I would say, all right, hey, Mr. Customer, you know, you have a deal right now with Florida Roof Pros. You're going to have to pay them for the roof, you know, prior to the solar, and you have to bundle it all together to kind of take advantage of it. But you're going to have to pay your Roof Pros first for their roof. And then what we do is, let's just say the shingle roof costs you $20,000, Mr. Customer. We're going to actually cut you a check because you have to roll it in with the financing. And then if you had taken Roof Pros financing or you paid them cap.
So the rest of the video is really just us talking about, because his big thing was he doesn't have a lot of time, right? And he's currently dealing with the solar project he didn't get paid on. He's waiting to get paid on it because they basically rolled it all together, you know, and now he's waiting for the solar company, and they just have a handshake agreement to get paid. Guys that sell shingle roofs, they want their money now. That's why they sell shingle, right? So it's a month, they're getting paid for their roof and it's gone. So the way that I handle my deals I'm right here, Total Home Roofing, right? I sell roofs as well. We basically have the customer pay for the roof first, and then we roll it into the Power financing, and then Power cuts them a check. So I go on to kind of disarm his objections about not having a lot of time and that he's not getting paid on his deals, and they're like trying to roll it together, right? And I delve into there's some more options. So he told me Eric was another owner. So essentially, you know, right now I have an email out to them. I'm going to follow up. This was just a few days ago, and they're actually local. So I'm going to go visit them because now I know that, you know, him and Eric, those are the two guys, right? Because at some point in this conversation, I find out that he's the owner, right? He asked for a little bit more information, which they always do. Yeah, just send me an email. But you can see how it got open into a two-way dialogue, and we went from not interested to having a conversation about potentially offering solar. Now I got to go close the deal, right? So I got to get in front of Eric because that's really who I need to talk to close the deal. And he told me who I needed to talk to. So now I can go in there, knock on the door, go in the office and talk to Eric and hopefully onboard him. And I'll let you guys know, you know, when that happens. But this is just an example. This is like low hanging fruit. Like if you don't have a full pack schedule and you want to add, because My goal is to add as many referral sources as possible, because you can either what? You can buy leads, you can go door knock, right? Or you can try to onboard referral partners. So I have the money that I could buy solar leads if I want to, but the team that I'm building underneath me, I want them to be able to organically do this no matter what, with no excuse, right? Oh, well, I'm handicapped. I can't go out and knock doors, right? Okay. I live in a different state. I live in Wisconsin. I can't go knock doors. We don't sell solar there, right? So if you're trying to build a team, you want to make sure that you can organically create leads for them so that they can do this on their own. So the best thing to do is get referral sources, right? BNI is another one. That's where I met Ramsey. He introduced me to this opportunity. You're going to meet a lot of people that are hungry in BNI that want to close deals and make a lot of money, right? That's the kind of people you need. And it's a lot easier to get into a conversation with them. But this is the prime example. If you target small roofing companies, smaller companies that are doing home services, that you can potentially onboard them. And this is just an example. And I don't make as many calls as I'd like to on this, but you know, I recorded this, and my second call, I happened to get somebody on the phone and we got them past not interested, right? So I wanted to share that with everybody. I'm not going to do the whole thing just because of time. We only have 3 minutes left. Next week, like I said, we'll do Black Swan. I hope everybody got something out of the, you know, the little meeting today. We plan on keeping them going. And, you know, if you have something that you want to bring to the table that you think everybody could feed off of and, you know, add insight, you know, we're all family here. I think everybody's in Power Solar that's in this group or thinking about joining Power Solar. You can make a lot of money on this platform. You can become a millionaire, and there's not a lot of people that get that opportunity. It's just a matter of how much work you want to put into it, and more importantly, the skills that you have. If you don't have the skills to get there, then you're not getting anywhere. I don't care what it is. Professional baseball player doesn't become a professional baseball player just because he's lucky, right? He might have some talent, but it's hard work. And it's developing the skill sets, how to hit right? How to make sure you don't go after bad pitches. It's the same thing for solar. If you get punched in the mouth with objections and you don't have a way to overcome them, you're not going to sell a lot of solar, right? And it's not, people aren't buying off of logic. If everybody was buying off logic, everybody would have solar where I live in Florida. Everybody would have solar in Texas, right? These aren't, people don't buy out of logic, they buy out of emotion. So you got to tap into the emotion, pull that pain out so that they want to move forward and go, yeah, this is the problem, I need to solve it. So that's my thought process on it. But Ramsey, if you don't have anything else, I appreciate everybody showing up, everybody's time, everybody's insight.
Yeah,
100%.
Cody. Oh, sorry. There is a question in the chat saying if we can make this available, the recorded session available, because they want to study the session.
The call I made here you're talking about, or just the whole session period?
No, this one, what we're doing here, I believe.
I believe it's the call.
presentation.
Call itself,
Yeah.
because I'm going to share the link. So I don't know if Cody has the link to share.
I'll provide everything to Ramsey, and he can reach out because he knows most everybody in the group. Ramsey, if you want to make a note, I'm not sure who wanted it, but
yeah, just reach out to me if you guys want the call. I'll share it with you. Thank you for joining us. This is a collaborative effort. We're all learning here. Nobody knows more than anyone else. We all have something to attribute to the group. And when we keep that mentality, that's how we're going to grow. And that's how we're going to become millionaires. You know, we don't know it all. And the more you help other people, the more they're going to help you. So givers gain. Again, BNI has been very good to me. Cody has turned into like a brother to me, a very good friend. I just onboarded a home inspector. So it's possible. We just have to put in the work, right? You see my board behind me. These are the people that I call every day. I bust out calls because I'm looking for no's. I'm happy when I get a no, because I'm like, all right, now I can analyze and see what I can do better. So it turns into a game. And when you gamify it, you have fun with it. It's just like a video game. It's like, damn, I missed that level. Let me try again. But when you're worried about the outcome of getting a yes, that's when you're like, oh, I didn't get it. I'm a failure, you know, and you get discouraged. So don't look at it as the outcome. Look at it as the action that you're going after. And that's the habit you want to develop. And you want to get your dopamine from the action, from the habit of doing the work. And then you're going to get the results regardless, right? Because if you do something long enough, you're going to get good at it, right? And also training and implementing the proper techniques. Any takeaways, guys, before we head out? I have a hard cutoff.
This is the first time I've been here. I'll be back.
Excellent.
I'm going
Thank
to
you.
use what I learned today on a solar installer who I've been kind of talking with. So we'll see.
beautiful.
Wonderful. Thank you,
We
Michael.
appreciate you coming up and everybody here, like I said, sharing all their insight. I know there's stuff that I can learn from everybody in this group, and I just hope to share everything that I've learned and that I use just to get better. Like Ramsey said, you know, you sharpen steel with steel. That's how you get where you want to go. If you want to be good at things, you get together with people. Because my brain's not as good as everybody's brain in one conglomerate here, right? So next week, like I said, Ramsey will be presenting Black Swan. Jonathan did it before we decided to open it up and get some more people involved. You know, if somebody has something to bring to the table, reach out to Ramsey or Jonathan or myself, and we'll, you know, talk about having you present it if you want to do that, because we'd love to learn more and grow if you have a different sales technique. Because everybody knows there's NEPQ, which is being implemented into Power. That's my favorite. I'm a very skeptical person, but NEPQ has had me sold from the moment that I've watched the videos. I haven't done the training, but you know, I would definitely do the training. It's about 9,000. I just have to set aside the time to do it. But just implementing what I've learned has opened up conversations like that one, which normally I would get punched in the mouth and I would have nowhere to go. I'd go into pitch mode versus just, hey, all right, you told me the problems, I'm listening, I'm moving on, right? We're still talking. Either you're gonna hang up or we're gonna end up in a two-way dialogue. One of the two is gonna happen, right? Now I gotta get better at closing the deal, right? Actually closing the sale, building that gap a little further. But I appreciate everybody's time. I gotta run as well. Ramsey, thank you for having everybody and posting that, and thanks everybody for showing up.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you,
look forward to
Francis.
seeing you in the future.
We'll see
Thank
you
you.
next week.